I spent $2,500 on a backyard carnival for my daughter's birthday. When we got home, the cake said, "Congrats, Luna." My sister's daughter. Mom laughed. We just combined the parties to save money. My daughter went quiet and took off her tiara. I packed everything up, called the vendors, and canceled every future plan. By evening, my relatives were blowing up my phone. My daughter, Emma, just celebrated her 7th birthday, a milestone we'd been meticulously planning since last September. You see, Emma wasn't just talking about a carnival-themed party, she was living it. Her small hands tirelessly cut vibrant pictures from magazines, her imagination conjuring elaborate blueprints for cotton candy machines and thrilling ring toss games. As a single mother navigating the demanding hours of 2 jobs, her dream became my unwavering mission. For 8 painstaking months, every extra shift at the diner, every weekend spent cleaning houses, every spare dime, was lovingly tucked into an envelope simply labeled Emma's birthday. The grand total eventually reached $2,500. A fortune, yes, for a woman juggling responsibilities. But the sheer, incandescent joy that ignited her face when I finally whispered, "We can do it, baby. Your backyard carnival is happening," was a treasure beyond any monetary value. I wasted no time, booking vendors 3 weeks in advance. A popcorn machine, a fluffy cotton candy station, classic ring toss, a charming duck pond game, a skilled face painter, a balloon artist, and even a small petting zoo featuring 2 gentle goats and 3 fluffy rabbits. Emma, my meticulous little co-planner, meticulously helped me craft the guest list, 12 classmates, plus our closest family. My sister, Kelly, has a daughter, Luna, who is 8, almost exactly a year older than Emma. They'd always coexisted well enough, though Luna possessed a competitive streak. Kelly and I, on the other hand, had endured our own quiet tensions over the years. Our differences often stemmed from her early marriage to a successful contractor, a stark contrast to my own path as a divorced woman, constantly striving. She rarely missed an opportunity to subtly remind me which of us had made better choices. The highly anticipated party was scheduled for Saturday at 2 p.m. in my backyard. Friday night was a flurry of activity. I meticulously decorated with bright red and white streamers, carefully hung handcrafted carnival signs, and arranged the game stations with pride. Emma, bubbling with anticipation, could barely sleep. She had already laid out her special birthday dress, a shimmering pink tulle creation adorned with sequins, and the plastic tiara proclaiming her birthday princess. Saturday morning dawned with picture-perfect weather. The vendors arrived precisely on schedule, transforming my modest backyard into a vibrant, magical spectacle. Emma, a whirlwind of pure delight, squealed with glee, practically dancing in circles as each attraction materialized. By 11 a.m., 3 hours ahead of schedule, she was already resplendent in her dress and tiara, simply unable to wait another moment. The first excited guests began arriving at 1:45 p.m. Emma, a tiny, beaming hostess, positioned herself by the gate, greeting each friend with a huge smile and playfully directing them towards the games. My mom, dad, and sister's family pulled up at 2:15 p.m. And then, Luna stepped out of the car wearing an identical pink dress. Not just similar, but exactly the same. I raised an eyebrow, a silent question aimed at Kelly, who simply shrugged. "Luna saw Emma's dress when you posted that photo on Instagram," Kelly explained, a hint of defensiveness in her voice. "She had to have the same one. You know how girls are." I swallowed my immediate irritation, refusing to allow drama to mar Emma's special day. The children were having an absolute blast, and Emma seemed too swept up in the excitement to notice or care about the matching outfits. Around 3:30 p.m., I slipped inside to retrieve the magnificent cake I'd ordered from the fancy downtown bakery. It was a stunning 2-layer vanilla cake with succulent strawberry filling, artfully decorated to resemble a whimsical carnival tent, with "Happy 7th Birthday, Emma," meticulously piped in colorful frosting. When I'd ordered it, I'd even shown them Emma's picture, and they'd created a small fondant figurine in her likeness. I carefully carried the precious cake outside, my heart swelling, anticipating the radiant smile that would surely light up Emma's face as everyone burst into happy birthday. Instead, I stopped dead in my tracks. The cake in my trembling hands read, "Congrats, Luna," in the very same colorful frosting. The fondant figurine had been replaced with one featuring darker hair, just like Luna's. My hands began to shake violently. I looked around frantically, my gaze darting. I spotted my original cake box, empty, discarded by the trash can. A second cake box, one I had never seen before, sat innocently on the side table. "Mommy," Emma's voice, sticky with cotton candy chocolate, broke through my shock as she ran towards me. "Can we do the cake now?" Luna's getting impatient. My eyes darted to my mother, who stood near the cake table, a telltale guilty expression on her face. She had clearly been inside my house while I, the host, was outside watching the children play. "What did you do?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper, desperate not to create a scene in front of the eager children. Mom laughed, actually laughed, and airily replied, "Oh, honey, don't be so dramatic. We just combined the parties to save money. I ordered Luna's cake from the same bakery this morning when I called to confirm your pickup time. Luna's birthday is next weekend, and Kelly was planning something similar. This way, everyone gets to enjoy the carnival and we don't have to do this twice. It's practical." Her words hit me like a physical blow. I looked at Emma, who had gone completely silent beside me. Her small fingers trembled as she slowly reached up and took off her tiara. "But it's my party," she whispered, so quietly I almost didn't hear her. Kelly suddenly materialized at my mother's side, her expression defensive, yet utterly devoid of apology. "Emma is still getting a party. Look at all this," she exclaimed, gesturing around. She should be grateful to share with her cousin. Grateful to share her own birthday party, I watched my daughter's precious face crumple as the brutal reality sank in. All these months of meticulous planning, every dollar saved, every cherished dream, and now half the children were beginning to sing "Happy Birthday, Luna," while Emma stood there, a forgotten guest at her own celebration. My vision blurred with a searing red. I marched into the kitchen, yanked garbage bags from beneath the sink, and stormed back outside. Facing the confused crowd of 7-year-olds, I announced, my voice trembling with suppressed fury, "Party's over. Everyone needs to go home now." "Sarah, don't be ridiculous," my father protested. "The children are having fun." I ignored him, my hands moving with controlled ferocity as I began dismantling the ring toss game, stuffing prizes into garbage bags. "Emma," I commanded, my voice firm despite the tremor. "Go pack your overnight bag. We're leaving." "Where are we going, Mommy?" she asked, tears streaming down her small cheeks. "Somewhere that's just for you, baby. Somewhere nobody can take your birthday away." The next hour was a blur of controlled fury. I called each vendor, explaining there was a family emergency and asking them to pack up immediately. Most looked genuinely concerned, and all complied when I offered to pay their full contracted amount, plus a generous tip for the monumental inconvenience. I canceled the petting zoo appointment I had booked for the following weekend as an extended birthday treat. I canceled the planned trip to the Children's Museum. I canceled the sleepover Emma had meticulously planned with her best friend, Madison. Kelly, still in her defensive stance, tried to intervene. "You're being completely unreasonable. Luna is devastated that you're ruining everything." "Luna is devastated?" I turned to face her, a garbage bag filled with carnival decorations clutched in each hand. "My daughter has been planning this party for 8 months. I worked double shifts to afford this. And you think Luna is the victim here? It's just a party, Sarah. Don't be so selfish." Selfish for wanting my own daughter to have her own birthday celebration, I continued packing, my hands moving mechanically while Emma sat on the porch steps, still in her sequined princess dress, watching her dream party disappear into garbage bags. My heart was breaking for her, a sharp, searing pain, but I knew, with absolute certainty, that I couldn't let this stand. If I allowed them to steamroll us today, they would do it again and again. Mom tried a different, softer approach. "Honey, I was just trying to help. The cake was expensive, and I thought you'd switch out my daughter's birthday cake without asking me." I interrupted, hefting another heavy bag into my car trunk. "You walked into my kitchen, threw away the cake I ordered and paid for, and replaced it with one for Luna. I saved the Emma cake. It's in your freezer. We can use it next weekend for a small family dinner. A small family dinner after her cousin already had the big carnival party Emma had dreamed about for months. By 5 p.m., my backyard resembled a desolate crime scene. Scattered popcorn kernels, deflated balloons snagged in the fence, and the lingering, sickly sweet smell of cotton candy mixed with the heavy scent of disappointment. Emma had changed into her regular clothes and sat quietly in the passenger seat of my Honda Civic, clutching the tiara she'd removed hours earlier. I drove us to a family-friendly hotel in town, a Hampton, which offered reasonable rates for extended stays. My emergency credit card could handle a few nights, and I needed Emma to feel special somewhere that was just ours. I booked us a room with 2 beds and ordered pizza delivery. Pepperoni, Emma's favorite. We shared chocolate chip cookies from the lobby market and a pint of ice cream I grabbed from the hotel's freezer section. "Are you mad at me, Mommy?" Emma asked softly as we waited for our food. "Mad at you, baby?" "No." My voice was gentle, full of an aching love. "I'm mad at the adults who made you feel like your birthday didn't matter. You did nothing wrong." She nodded solemnly, her eyes fixed on the cartoon channel. I sat beside her on the enormous hotel bed, trying to process the bewildering events of the day. My phone began its relentless buzzing around 6 p.m. "First, Kelly, you're acting like a child. Come back so we can talk about this reasonably." Then, my mother, "Emma is missing her own party. Luna is asking where her cousin went." My father chimed in an hour later. "This is embarrassing for the whole family. People are asking questions." By 8 p.m., I had 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. The general consensus seemed to be that I was drastically overreacting, ruining everyone's fun, and traumatizing poor Luna, who apparently didn't understand why Emma left her birthday party. Her birthday party. They were still calling it Luna's party. I turned off my phone and focused entirely on Emma, who was finally smiling again as she demolished her ice cream sundae. We watched movies until she fell asleep, curled up next to me, her tiara glittering on the nightstand in the lamplight. Sunday morning brought a new wave of accusatory messages. Kelly had apparently spent the night crying because Luna was confused and hurt by the entire situation. My mother wanted to know when I planned to stop this nonsense and bring Emma home for a proper family dinner. But the message that truly galvanized me came from my cousin Jennifer, Kelly's sister-in-law, heard about yesterday. "Kelly's been telling everyone you had a breakdown over sharing a party. Just wanted you to know that Luna's been bragging to her friends about her carnival party all weekend. Thought you should know." Luna was bragging about Emma's party. The party I'd worked double shifts to afford. The party Emma had planned for 8 months. It was now Luna's story to tell. I made a decision that morning, a pivotal choice that would change everything. Instead of going home, I extended our hotel stay through Tuesday. I called in sick to both my jobs, something I'd never done except when Emma had pneumonia 2 years prior. Then, I did something I'd been meticulously avoiding for 3 years. I called my ex-husband, David. David and I had divorced when Emma was 4, primarily because he wanted to move across the country for a better job, while I wanted stability for our daughter. He had been consistently sending generous child support and visiting every few months, often asking to contribute more to Emma's expenses. But I, in my stubborn pride, had always politely declined additional help. "Sarah, is everything okay?" he asked, his voice laced with surprise at my Sunday morning call. I told him the entire story, from the months of meticulous planning to the shocking switched cake to Emma's utterly crushed expression. He listened without a single interruption, which, I admit, surprised me. "How much did the party cost you?" he asked when I finished, his voice calm. $2,500. "Jesus, Sarah," he breathed. "Why didn't you tell me she wanted something like this? I would have helped." "Because we've been fine on our own," I retorted, the old defensiveness flaring. "Clearly, you haven't been fine if your own family thinks they can hijack Emma's birthday," he countered, his logic undeniable. David lived in Colorado now, thriving as a software engineer for a company that paid him 3 times what I made at both my jobs combined. He'd been asking to have Emma visit for longer periods, but I'd always said no, a silent fear clutching at my heart that he'd try to keep her. What if Emma and I came to visit for a few weeks this summer? I asked, the words a leap of faith. Like an extended vacation. Are you serious? I've been asking for that for 2 years. I know I was being stubborn, but after yesterday, I think Emma needs to see that she matters, that her feelings and her special days are important. She can have her birthday party here, a real one, with her friends from school. I'll fly them out if needed. I almost wept with relief. David was offering to spend thousands of dollars to give Emma the birthday experience she deserved, while my own family thought she should be grateful for their scraps. We talked for another hour, meticulously planning Emma's May-up birthday party in Colorado. He'd book a venue, hire entertainers, and invite kids from his neighborhood. Emma could stay with him for 3 glorious weeks in late June and early July after her school year ended, embarking on adventures and feeling profoundly valued. When I told Emma about the Colorado plan, she perked up for the first time since Saturday. Will it be just my party, not Luna's too? She asked, her eyes wide with hope. Just yours, baby. Just yours. And will my name be on the cake from the very beginning? Your name will be on everything, sweetheart. Daddy's going to make sure of that. Monday morning, I returned to work at the diner with a new perspective, a quiet strength emanating from me. My coworkers noticed I seemed different, more confident, less apologetic about taking up space. When my manager asked about my weekend, I gave him the abbreviated version, family drama over my daughter's birthday. Family can be the worst sometimes, he said, refilling my coffee cup, but you've got to put your kid first. Sounds like you did the right thing. The right thing? I was starting to believe that myself. Tuesday brought an unexpected visitor to the diner, my Aunt Patricia, my mother's sister. She slid into my section around 2 p.m. and ordered coffee and pie. Heard about the birthday situation, she said, her voice surprisingly steady, when I brought her order. I braced myself for another lecture about family unity and forgiveness. Good for you, she said instead, her gaze direct. Your mother pulled similar crap on Kelly and you when you were kids. Always favored Kelly because she was easier. About time someone called her on it. I stared at Patricia, unsure how to respond. Kelly called me yesterday crying about how you ruined Luna's party. When I asked her whose party it was supposed to be, she got real quiet. Then she tried to tell me it was always planned as a joint celebration. It wasn't. I know it wasn't. Your mother has been bragging about your carnival party plans for weeks. How you saved up all that money, how excited Emma was. Then suddenly it becomes about Luna. That's manipulation, honey. Patricia left me a $20 tip on a $7 check and squeezed my hand before leaving. Don't let them gaslight you into thinking you overreacted. Emma will remember this birthday for the rest of her life. And now she'll remember that her mama stood up for her. Wednesday evening, we finally went home. The house felt different somehow, like a place I was visiting rather than truly living. Emma went straight to her room to play with her toys while I started going through the mail and meticulously planning our Colorado trip. My phone rang around 7 p.m. Kelly's name flashed on the screen. Are you done with your tantrum? She asked without preamble. I'm done with a lot of things, I replied, my voice calm and steady, but tantrums aren't one of them. Luna has been asking about Emma all week. She wants to apologize. Apologize for what? For. I don't know. Whatever made you so upset. She's 8 years old, Kelly. She doesn't need to apologize for anything. The adults who decided to steal her cousin's birthday party are the ones who owe apologies. Nobody stole anything. We just combined. You combined nothing. You took my daughter's party and gave it to yours. There's a difference. Kelly went quiet for a moment. Mom wants to have a family dinner this weekend to talk things through. Emma and I won't be available for family dinners for a while. What do you mean? We're going to Colorado to visit David for 3 weeks this summer. Emma's going to have her real birthday party there. You can't just take her across the country because you're mad at us. Watch me. I hung up and immediately called David to confirm our flight details. Emma could finish her last few school assignments remotely. Her teacher had already agreed when I explained the situation. We'd leave in 2 weeks. Thursday brought my mother to my workplace, looking stern and deeply disappointed. She waited until my break and cornered me by the employee parking lot. This has gone far enough, Sarah. You're acting like we committed some terrible crime. You switched out my daughter's birthday cake without permission. You turned her party into someone else's celebration. You laughed when I was upset about it. I was trying to save everyone money and effort by sacrificing Emma's feelings. Mom crossed her arms, her stance rigid. Emma is fine. Children are resilient. Emma took off her birthday tiara and hasn't put it back on since Saturday. She asked me if she did something wrong. Does that sound fine to you? You're being dramatic. There was that word again. Dramatic. As if wanting my daughter to feel special on her birthday was somehow excessive. I'm being a mother, I said, my voice hardening. Something I'm learning you never quite figured out. Mom's face went white. How dare you? How dare I what? Prioritize my child over your convenience? Put Emma's feelings before Luna's temporary disappointment. Actually parent instead of just managing situations. I walked back into the diner before she could respond. Through the window, I watched her sit in her car for 10 minutes before driving away, defeated. The rest of the week passed quietly. Emma seemed vibrantly excited about our Colorado trip, especially when David sent her photos of the party venue he'd booked, an indoor amusement park with mini golf, laser tag, and an arcade. She'd never seen anything like it. Friday afternoon, Jennifer called with an update that made my blood boil all over again. Kelly posted photos from Luna's carnival party on Facebook, she said, a note of disbelief in her voice. Tagged it as Luna's 8th birthday bash and thanked everyone for making her special day so memorable. No mention of Emma anywhere. She's really claiming the whole party was for Luna. It gets worse, Jennifer continued. Mom commented saying what a wonderful grandmother she is for coordinating such a magical celebration for her granddaughter. Singular. Like Emma doesn't exist. I pulled up Facebook on my phone and found the post. There was Luna, resplendent in Emma's identical dress, surrounded by the decorations I'd hung, playing games I'd paid for. The comments were full of praise for Kelly's amazing party planning skills and compliments on Luna's beautiful carnival theme. One comment from a family friend read, "Luna is so lucky to have such creative parents. This looks expensive. You really went all out." Kelly had replied, "We saved up for months to make this happen. She's worth every penny. Every penny that I had earned and saved." I screenshotted everything before I could lose my nerve, then did something I'd never done before. I posted my own, carefully worded response. Beautiful party. I'm so glad the $2,500 I spent planning Emma's carnival birthday party could make Luna's day special, too. Emma was especially excited about the cake that mysteriously changed from Happy 7th Birthday Emma to Congrats Luna when my mother secretly ordered a replacement during the party. Nothing says family love like switching out a child's birthday cake without telling her. Emma and I are looking forward to her actual birthday celebration in Colorado this summer, the one where her name will be on the cake from start to finish. I tagged every family member who had liked Kelly's original post. My phone exploded within an hour. Calls, texts, private messages, everyone demanding I delete my comment, apologizing for misunderstandings, suddenly very concerned about Emma's feelings. The post stayed up for 2 hours before I, satisfied, deleted it. By then, dozens of people had seen it, including several family. Friends who had been tagged in Kelly's original post. Screenshots had been taken. Questions were being asked. The narrative was shifting. Saturday morning, my doorbell rang at 8 a.m. I opened it to find Kelly, Mom, and Dad standing on my porch, looking as though they'd been up all night. "We need to talk," Mom said, her voice strained. I invited them in, but pointedly didn't offer coffee. Emma was still sleeping, exhausted from a week of emotional upheaval. "Your little Facebook stunt was completely out of line," Kelly started, her voice tight with indignation. "The truth usually is uncomfortable," I replied, my voice steady. "You embarrassed the entire family. You stole my daughter's birthday party and gave it to yours. I'd say embarrassment is the least of your problems." Dad cleared his throat, his face etched with discomfort. "We came to apologize. This whole thing got out of hand." "What exactly are you apologizing for?" I pressed, unwilling to let them off easily. The three of them looked at each other uncomfortably. Finally, Mom spoke up. 4. Not communicating better about the party arrangements. Try again. For making Emma feel overlooked, Kelly added reluctantly. Better. What else? For spending your money without permission, Dad said quietly, his gaze meeting mine. And for changing Emma's cake, Mom whispered, her voice barely audible. And for claiming credit for the party planning on social media, I added, my voice cutting through the tension. And for calling me dramatic and unreasonable when I objected. And for prioritizing Luna's feelings over Emma's for an entire week. They all nodded miserably. Here's what's going to happen, I continued, my voice unwavering. Emma and I are going to Colorado as planned. She's going to have the birthday party she deserves, with her name on everything, surrounded by people who understand that she matters. When we come back, family gatherings will be different. Different how? Kelly asked, her voice laced with trepidation. Emma and I will be treated as equal members of this family, not afterthoughts. Her events won't be combined with Luna's unless she specifically requests it. And if anyone ever tries to steamroll us again, we'll disappear for longer than a month. They agreed to everything, probably still reeling from the Facebook backlash. Jennifer later told me that several family friends had privately messaged her, expressing shock at how Emma had been treated. The family's reputation was taking a hit, and that, more than anything, mattered to my parents. 2 weeks later, Emma and I boarded a plane to Colorado. She wore her birthday tiara the entire flight, chatting excitedly with the flight attendants about her upcoming party. When we landed, David was waiting with a bouquet of flowers and a huge smile. Emma's Colorado birthday party was everything the backyard carnival should have been. 20 kids from David's neighborhood, plus a few cousins from his side of the family who lived nearby, all gathered at the indoor amusement park. The venue was decorated with vibrant, "Happy 7th Birthday, Emma" banners, and the cake, a magnificent 3-layer chocolate masterpiece, had her name spelled out in glittery letters. But the moment that made everything worthwhile came when they dimmed the lights for the birthday song. Emma looked around at all the faces singing only to her, and her smile was brighter than all the birthday candles combined. "This is the best birthday ever, Mommy," she whispered as she made her wish. David and I exchanged custody papers the following week. Emma would spend part of each summer with him in Colorado and alternate major holidays. It meant less time together for us, but it also meant she'd have fierce advocates on both sides of the country, people who would never let her feel invisible or unimportant again. When we returned home in August, the family dynamics had indeed shifted. Kelly still tried to position Luna as the favorite grandchild, but Mom and Dad were making obvious, sometimes clumsy, efforts to include Emma equally. They'd learned that their behavior had consequences, that treating us as disposable would result in their granddaughter spending significant time 3 states away. Emma started 2nd grade with new confidence. She'd experienced what it felt like to be the center of attention at her own celebration, to have her feelings prioritized, to matter. That foundation of self-worth was something no one could ever take away from her. The birthday tiara now sits proudly on Emma's dresser, not as a mere costume piece, but as a powerful reminder. She wears it sometimes when she needs to feel brave, before spelling tests, during difficult conversations with friends, when standing up for herself at school. People ask me if I regret causing such a dramatic upheaval over just a birthday party. But it was never just a birthday party. It was about whether my daughter's feelings mattered, whether her joy was worth protecting, whether she deserved to be celebrated rather than sidelined. Looking back, that $2,500 was the best money I ever spent. Not because of the carnival games or cotton candy, but because it taught me to fight for my daughter's place in the world. Emma learned that her mother would move mountains to protect her happiness. And I learned that setting boundaries with family isn't selfish, it's essential. 3 months after we returned from Colorado, the real test of our new family boundaries came during Thanksgiving. Mom called in early November, her voice artificially cheerful, as she invited us to the traditional family gathering at her house. "We're doing the usual potluck," she said. "Kelly's bringing her famous sweet potato casserole, and I thought maybe you could bring rolls or something simple." "Something simple?" Even in her attempts at reconciliation, the subtle digs continued. "Actually, Emma and I are hosting Thanksgiving this year," I announced, surprising even myself with the words as they came out. "You're all welcome to come here, but we're doing things differently." The silence on the other end stretched so long I thought she'd hung up. "But Sarah, you don't have room for everyone and your kitchen." "My kitchen will be fine," I cut her off. "David is flying in to spend the holiday with Emma, and I've invited Patricia and Jennifer's family. We'll make it work." What I didn't mention was that I'd been planning this for weeks. David had offered to help with expenses, and I'd already ordered a catering package from the fancy restaurant downtown. For once, I wouldn't be scrambling to contribute a single side dish while others took credit for the main event. The morning of Thanksgiving, Emma helped me arrange fall decorations throughout the house, decorations we'd chosen together, with no one swooping in to improve our choices. David arrived early, bringing an enormous bouquet of sunflowers and a generous contribution to the catering costs that I gratefully accepted. "How are you feeling about today?" he asked, while Emma enthusiastically showed him her latest art projects. "Nervous, but ready," I admitted. "They need to see that we're not the same people who can be pushed around." When my parents arrived, their expressions were carefully neutral. Dad carried a store-bought pie, and Mom clutched her purse as if it might protect her from awkward conversations. Kelly and her family came in behind them, Luna immediately gravitating toward Emma's room to see her toys. The dynamic was different from the start. In my house, with my rules, everyone had to acknowledge Emma's presence and preferences. When Luna wanted to change the television channel, I gently but firmly explained that the host gets to choose the programming. When Kelly tried to rearrange my table settings to flow better, I thanked her for the input, but kept things exactly as they were. The most telling moment came during dinner. Emma had requested that everyone share what they were thankful for, a tradition we'd started during our Colorado trip. When it was Kelly's turn, she mentioned Luna's recent academic achievements and their upcoming vacation plans. Then it was Emma's turn. "I'm thankful for my mom who fights for me," she said clearly, looking directly at my mother. "And for my dad, who gave me the best birthday party ever in Colorado. And for learning that I don't have to share everything, even if people think I should." The adults shifted uncomfortably, but Emma wasn't finished. "I'm also thankful that my cake will always have my name on it now." David squeezed my hand under the table. Patricia smiled into her wine glass. My mother looked like she wanted to disappear into her mashed potatoes. After dinner, while the kids played in the living room, Kelly cornered me in the kitchen. "Was that really necessary?" she hissed, making Emma say those things. "I didn't make Emma say anything. Those are her own thoughts, formed from her own experiences. She's too young to hold grudges." "She's not holding a grudge, Kelly. She's learned to value herself. There's a difference." Kelly's face flushed crimson. "You're turning her against the family." "The family turned against her first. I'm just making sure it doesn't happen again." David appeared in the kitchen doorway, drawn by the raised voices. "Everything okay in here?" "Fine," Kelly muttered, pushing past him to rejoin the others. David raised an eyebrow at me. "Territorial disputes?" "Something like that." "She's realizing that the old power dynamics don't work anymore." The evening ended earlier than traditional family gatherings usually did. My parents made polite excuses about having a long drive home, though they lived only 20 minutes away. Kelly and her family left shortly after, Luna whining about not getting to take any of Emma's toys home with her. After everyone left, Emma, David, and I cleaned up while holiday music played softly in the background. It felt peaceful in a way family gatherings never had before. "Did I do good today, Mommy?" Emma asked as she helped load the dishwasher. "You did perfect, baby. You were polite and honest. That's all anyone can ask for." Luna seemed sad when I said I didn't have to share everything. "That's okay. Luna is learning that other people have feelings, too. It's a hard lesson, but an important one." David stayed through the weekend, and we spent Saturday decorating the house for Christmas. Emma insisted on making ornaments with her name on them, a small but significant declaration of her place in our holiday traditions. When David flew back to Colorado, he left behind more than just presents under the tree. He'd left Emma with a newfound knowledge that she had advocates in multiple states, people who would prioritize her feelings and experiences. December brought its own challenges. Kelly called 3 weeks before Christmas, her voice strained with false cheer. "Mom wants to do the traditional Christmas Eve celebration at her house," she began. "Same as always. Everyone brings a dish. The kids open one present. We do the family photo. Sounds lovely. What time should Emma and I arrive?" "Well, that's the thing. Mom was hoping you could bring something really special this year. Like your famous apple pie, or maybe that expensive cheese and crackers platter you did for Easter 2 years ago." I paused, recognizing the manipulation immediately. They wanted me to invest more effort and money into the gathering, likely to offset their own contributions. The old Sarah would have agreed, spending money she didn't have to prove her worth to people who'd already demonstrated they didn't value her efforts. "I'll bring dinner rolls from the grocery store bakery," I said instead. "Emma and I are saving our energy for our own Christmas morning traditions." "Grocery store rolls, Sarah?" "It's Christmas Eve. This is important. It's important to you. Emma and I have different priorities now." The Christmas Eve gathering was awkward but manageable. Emma wore a red velvet dress we picked out together, and she carried herself with a confidence that made several relatives comment on how grown-up she seemed. When it came time for the family photo, she positioned herself prominently in the front, no longer willing to be hidden behind her older cousin. The most satisfying moment came when my great-aunt Rose, Mom's eldest sister, pulled me aside during dessert. "I heard about the birthday party situation," she said quietly. "Heard your mother's version and Kelly's version, but I also heard Emma's version when I asked her directly." My stomach clenched. "What did she tell you?" "That her mama saved up all her money to give her a special day, and that some people tried to take it away, but her mama fought for her. She said she learned that birthdays are supposed to be about the person having the birthday." Rose patted my arm. "Your grandmother would be proud. She never liked it when people tried to dim someone else's light to make themselves shine brighter." That validation from the family matriarch meant more than any apology from my parents ever could have. Christmas morning brought a call from David, who'd FaceTimed with Emma as she opened presents. Afterward, she spent an hour showing him each gift and explaining her plans for using them. Their relationship had deepened during our Colorado visit, and maintaining that connection was proving immensely beneficial for Emma's sense of security. "Daddy wants to know if we can visit again for spring break," Emma announced after ending the call. "What do you think? Would you like that?" "Yes. And maybe next time Luna can't come to my party there either." I laughed to spite myself. "Luna won't be at your Colorado parties, baby. Those are just for you and your friends there." "Good. I like parties where I'm the birthday girl the whole time." The spring semester brought new developments. Emma's teacher mentioned during parent conferences that she'd noticed changes in Emma's assertiveness and self-advocacy. She's much more willing to speak up when she needs help, and she's better at standing up to classmates who try to pressure her into sharing things she doesn't want to share, Mrs. Patterson explained. "Whatever you've been working on at home is translating into school confidence." That confidence was tested in March when Luna's birthday approached. Kelly called a month in advance, her tone carefully casual. "We're planning Luna's party for the last Saturday in March. Just a small pool party at the community center. Luna specifically asked for Emma to be there." "That sounds nice. What time should we arrive?" "Actually, I was wondering if you'd be willing to help with some of the setup. You did such an amazing job with the carnival theme, and I thought maybe you could bring some of that creativity to Luna's party." There it was, the request for my labor and expertise, wrapped in false compliments and family obligation. The old Sarah would have agreed, eager to prove her usefulness and maintain peace. The new Sarah had different priorities. "I'm sure you and Mom can handle the setup just fine. Emma and I will see you at party time. But Sarah, I really need help. The pool area is so big and I don't have your eye for decorations." "Kelly," I said, a faint smile playing on my lips. "You managed to completely transform Emma's carnival party in the space of an hour. I'm confident you can handle Luna's pool party." She went quiet, realizing I had just reminded her of her own capability for party manipulation. Luna's pool party ended up being perfectly fine without my assistance. Emma enjoyed swimming with her cousin and the other kids, but she came home talking about how nice it was to attend a party without worrying about anyone changing the decorations or switching the cake. I felt like a regular guest, she told me while we dried off her swimsuit. I didn't have to worry about anything except having fun. The relatives still blow up my phone occasionally, usually when they want something or when Luna achieves some milestone they think should be celebrated with fanfare. But Emma and I have our own traditions now, our own definitions of what family support looks like. We've learned to protect our energy and our joy from people who would diminish both for their own convenience. Emma's 8th birthday is coming up in a few months, and she's already making plans. This year, she wants a science party with volcano experiments and slime-making stations. She's drawn detailed diagrams of her vision, complete with her name prominently featured on every decoration. "Will you save up money for my party again, Mommy?" she asked last week while working on her plans. "Of course, baby. It's your special day and nobody can change my cake this time." "Nobody, but you gets to decide what your cake says," I corrected gently. She nodded seriously, adding another detail to her party diagram. At almost 8 years old, she understands concepts that some adults in our family still struggle with, that her feelings matter, that her special occasions deserve protection, that she has advocates who will fight for her happiness. And if anyone ever tries to steal her birthday cake again, they'll find out exactly how dramatic this mama can be.